Welcome to the Cemetery Gates podcast featuring Xander Kane and Androidvirus. Hey guys, welcome to the Cemetery Gates podcast. I am Androidvirus, joined by my illustrious co-host, Mr. Xander Kane, who may or may not be rubbing his grubby 5 o'clock shadow on his microphone.
I totally am. Well,
Oh.
See, here's the thing. I got this new headset, but it's connected, it's corded, but the cord is all tangled up, so it's twisting around into things. So, apologies, sir.
That used to happen to my ball cords before I got a vasectomy. They would get tangled and twisted, and I'd have to take a hot bath
In the microphones?
in order to release them. Oh, and you hear the fun laugh at the end. Yes, we invited her back on because we love her so much. Our Canadian candy cane, Miss Heather Powell. How are you?
Hey guys, so happy to be back. I actually have you guys to thank because I was on another podcast and they brought up Burial Ground and I was like, son of a bitch, I know that movie. And, and I have both of you to thank, so I'm very happy to be back again.
I'm glad we could introduce you. I hope we introduced you to some other cool movies tonight.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. There was one that I couldn't figure out which one Xander picked. And you picked for a little bit. I forgot, and I was like, I'm just gonna guess because they were both entertaining. I'm not gonna lie. They had no business being as entertaining as they were, but they were. So
yeah, and yours was quite entertaining, but we'll get more into that. I thank you for your pick, but welcome back all the way straight from Canada. We appreciate you. Yeah, it's been a little while since we recorded. We were set to do it a couple weeks ago, right, Xander? And I had a flood at work.
Oh yeah.
I called him.
Yeah, he's like, let me FaceTime you.
Wow.
I was like, okay, what happened?
And I'm walking in a facility with water, like ankle deep water, Heather.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I'm like, hey, we're not recording tonight. And he's like, why? And I just showed him. He's like, oh.
You're like, I'm going swimming, Xander. That's why.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I gotta shut the water off outside. I have to call the cleaning crew. I have to get this water out of here, pumped out. It was a to do, but that's why I get paid the big bucks, you know. Handle these emergencies. But yeah, welcome back, by the way, and I'm gonna ask you, Miss Heather, other than the movies that we all three picked tonight, we all picked 3 separate movies. So what have you been watching?
Well, I've been watching a lot. I've been trying to really get into Italian horror, as Xander knows, because he listens to my other podcast. And I really liked Deep Red. That actually was finally the one that I watched that really stood out. Also, I watched the Suspiria remake, which is really long. And there's a lot of dancing.
Yeah, that has one of my favorite scenes of all time in the Suspiria remake.
Is it the scene where the girl gets messed up?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fucking it. It's such an incredible that whole sequence is just absolutely amazing to me. I'm like, goddamn.
I could not agree more. It is so good. It's just very long. Not a bad movie, just a long movie. And of course, I've been binging on 2021 movies, and I watched Safer at Home, which I thought was really an interesting turn on the social media horror. I don't know how you guys, because Sandra, I think you and I were talking about it, weren't we?
Yeah, well, we weren't talking about Safer at Home, but we were talking about the social media genre, of blowing up at the moment.
Yeah, so this one was really interesting, and I saw the ever famous Wrong Turn remake, which is a good movie. I I think a lot of people are hating it because it's nothing like the original quote unquote Wrong Turn. But what about you?
We all three watched the Wrong Turn movie.
Oh, we've all seen it. Very cool.
Yeah. So not to throw out a mini impromptu review on it, but I quite enjoyed it. And the litmus test was my wife didn't leave the room while I was watching it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So old Rachel sat down. She goes, "That was actually really good."
She's like, compared to the other shit that you watched.
I know, right?
It was. I said, and that one is quite long too.
That is.
It is a long one.
Yeah.
Going back to your Suspiria remake, a huge kudos to fucking Tilda Swinton.
Oh man, yeah.
She plays the old man in that movie.
Yeah, it's crazy. She's incredible. Like, the acting was great. It was a good movie. I just found it a little long for my personal taste. That doesn't mean it's a bad film. It's just it was a lot for me.
I liked it. I thought it was very evil at the end, and I thought that was really fucking cool.
Yeah. Speaking at the end is the ending of the Wrong Turn remake. Back to that one. I really like that one. The ending to the Wrong Turn remake was awesome.
Yes, I agree with you. Yeah.
And it just it just felt like at times it felt exactly like a Wrong Turn movie, and other times it felt nothing like a Wrong Turn movie. So to me, it was like a pleasant surprise. So,
I mean, the I don't know who invented the genre, Xander. Who can we say invented it? Hills Have Eyes.
Hills Have Eyes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the whole redneck. I mean, you could go a little further earlier, but not necessarily inbred. We'll have to watch it sometime. As a matter of fact, I'd like to review it with Heather and see what she thinks. But 10,000 Maniacs, the original.
The original? I've never seen the original.
Yeah, it's those late 60s exploitation films. There's some rough ones, wouldn't you say, Xander?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was going to say like there before the kind of the inbred backwoods guys like torturing and killing people and all that. Like in the 60s, there was a lot of like biker gang type movies that kind of did the same thing, except they weren't, mongoloids in the woods, but it was the same type of film. A lot of them were biker films, but yeah, some gritty exploitation through that era for sure.
Yeah, very, very, very. Herschel Gordon Lewis, didn't he produce some of that stuff?
Yeah, he did Blood Feast, 10,000 Maniacs, Color Me Blood Red, bajillion others.
I mean, there's some fun genres to get into as far as that is concerned. As far as TV is concerned, we decided to start watching Clarice from the Silence of the Lambs Rage.
Yeah.
Not sold yet. I'm gonna give it one more episode.
How many are you in? 1 or 2?
4.
Ooh. All right.
Yeah.
5 is a good number, I think.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not digging it after 5, don't waste any more of your time. For sure.
It's I give kudos to it's a period piece, so it is set directly right after Silence of the Lambs, which is cool. So it's in the early 90s. The actress who plays Clarice does a great job. It's not like, I get really bugged with, like, I don't know. I can finally describe it because I pinpoint it. I get kind of bugged with the lemming. If you guys know what lemming is, like lemmings, it's kind of like it always just kind of goes with what's going on in popular culture. You know what I mean?
Right.
I always like something different. So I expected this to be like, quote unquote, like overtly like woke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or politically correct, and it's not, which is good. For me it is, but it's like the serial killer of the week deal.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because they can't touch Hannibal Lecter at all. Like, it can't even be brought up on that show. So
he can't due to copyright shit. They can say Buffalo Bill. They can do certain things, but not a lot. But it's just seems very TV formulaic, just that, Law and Order SUV type of formula that they're going for. And I'm just I'm just not quite digging it yet. I'm gonna give it one more, and then we'll see what happens.
Well, it sounds like a hard pass for me. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
From the way you're describing it, it's got a hard pass. I don't like those typical like you said, the SVU type show, like the police procedurals and shows that take place in hospitals. Like I could fucking care less. Like
they're so fucking boring.
There's so fucking many of them on both sides. Like, all right, I don't.
Yeah.
I can't anymore.
I mean, I enjoyed the shit out of Hannibal because it gave me something different. That was fucking out there. And then then when it went to Netflix, it really fucking went out there. So I quite enjoyed it, and I quite enjoyed this is what I enjoyed about Hannibal is that the loosely suggested homosexual, I guess you could say, attraction between Hannibal and Will Graham in the TV show, because it's like these dudes are into each other. They're so into each other, and I thought that was cool because it gave me something different to work with. Like. I thought that was Bray. Did you think Hannibal and Will Graham were like attractive to each other?
Who?
Hannibal and Will Graham.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think at first it was more attraction of the brains and stuff like that, and then I think they wanted to do each other.
I keep on trying to convince her to jump on a podcast with us, Heather.
Mm-hmm.
I keep on trying to convince Rachel to jump on a podcast with us, but she won't do it.
Well, that's because she talks to you enough as it is.
Yeah.
It's like bother somebody else.
I know.
She's like, this is the one time you're busy, and I can go get other things done. I'm just kidding, Andrew. I'm sure it's not that bad.
Yeah, my son just came into the room too as well to give me the new experimental Cheetos that they put out.
Oh, nice.
What is it called, David?
It's bolitas.
Bolitas. I don't even know what it is, Xander. I'm gonna try that.
Go for it.
The fuck is it? I don't taste like a goddamn Cheeto. All right.
Cheeto.
So what have you been checking out, Xander?
So I just recently finished The Stylist, which was originally a short film in 2016 about a hairdresser that basically scalps people and takes their hair. And the director, Jill, her last name is so fucking hard to say, Gavargazian, also known as Jill 6 on her socials and whatnot, finally got the opportunity to make the full-length feature, and it is on Arrow Player, which is the Arrow streaming service, is where it debuted, and it's absolutely fantastic. It is beautifully shot. The lead actress doesn't, which I think is, I can't remember her name, but it's fucking awesome. It's so good. It's just well shot. The scenes are great. It's not, there's not a ton of dialogue at times. At times it's just the lead character just being, just like going through her motions and like, I don't know. It's just really, really fucking good. So I highly recommend check that out if you want to check it out. But it's only on Arrow Player, so you're going to have to get that streaming service, son.
Oh, by the way, get yourself the Arrow. If you're into just weird, trippy, art house, vibey, horror, just exploitation, action.
Asian cinema. It is chock-loaded full of goodies. And now it's got these like cool like independent flicks. So it has a stylist, and it also has a great micro-budget film called The Ghost Waits, which I think I talked about on the last show. Which was fucking fantastic as well. So Arrow doing all the good things as they usually do.
Always. So, Heather, have you dived into Arrow's?
I don't think we get it in Canada.
Really?
Yeah, we don't get Hulu up here either.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I can't watch Into the Darks unless, I know Sandra's not going to want to hear this, but unless someone gets it for me, because I don't have the option. I don't have the option, though. Like, I can't watch it otherwise, right? So it's, unfortunately, and I think Arrow's in that category right now. Hopefully, like, it sounds like a great station. I hope they make it available to us.
It's a UK-based company, so I'm actually kind of surprised it's not in Canada.
Yeah, they're kind of mad at us.
Are they? Are they?
I wonder why.
We're harboring their refugees. They came here first. The royals that deked.
Oh, okay,
right?
I got you.
Right? Um,
Oh, the oppressed royals.
yes, the
Right.
oppressed royals. Yeah, I'm searching Arrow in Canada, and it's not even coming up yet.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Well, I'm
Um,
sorry. I will tell you all the stuff to write down and watch later. How about that?
Okay,
I
but I
and
get it. I'll go back and watch all of it.
You,
I will tell you all the physical media to buy from them as well, Heather. They put out
Okay.
amazing physical media. I cannot stress that enough.
I could get that.
Yeah, I mean, some of their, I mean, what I really like about Arrow the most is some of the V. I mean, as we all, I mean, I know me and Xander are probably, I don't know how old Xander. I'm probably older. I'm older than both of you. But anyways, being a child of the '80s, going through the VHS aisles, the horror section, and just looking at these amazing cover arts, that just the art itself induced, some type of fear and panic and anxiety in you as a child. To see them just taking that artwork and just putting out phenomenal releases with it, as far as Blu-rays are concerned, it's just for a collector. My personal favorites, Spring Break or The Mutilator, Xander.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
the Mutilator's good. I've seen the Mutilator.
They did the
uh,
Blood Rage one, right?
oh yeah, I own it.
Oh, Blood Rage.
Oof, I love that
And
fucking movie. Just got the Demons 1 and 2
nice.
uh,
Nice.
box set, so that was really cool. Came with the golden ticket, so I was really excited. Um, but yeah, Arrow's amazing. So, all right, guys. So on to our selections for this evening. I don't know where to go with these, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick on the new girl
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
And let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and listen to the trailer for Heather's pick, which is 1984's horror slasher Fatal Games, and we'll be right back.
New generation of Olympic athletes. They are trained to reach perfection at the top of their class, and nothing will stop them from reaching their goal. Competing in the next Olympic Games.
What are we gonna do? Get any laid!
Talk to you Thursday. Hi.
What's the matter?
Sue Ellen's parents called my folks last night. They got the police out looking for him. And the coaches know all about it. They haven't said a word to us. We find that a little strange.
As the laughter fades, the terror begins. Someone is stopping the nation's top athletes dead in their tracks. Someone has the killing touch. In sports, winning is everything. But at the Vulcan Academy, death is the first prize. The killing touch. You win, you die.
All right, guys. So you just listened to the trailer for Fatal Games, and take it away, Miss Powell.
All right. So Fatal Games came out in 1984. It was a slasher. The runtime is an hour and 28 minutes long. Originally, I wanted to do another movie, but unfortunately, Sandra didn't have access to it. So this was my runner-up. But I love this film. I just think it is such an interesting take on the slasher genre simply because they use athletes. And so they have 7 Olympic athletes, or, I guess they're training for the
Yeah,
Olympics or whatever the case
they're
is, right?
Olympic hopefuls, I guess.
Olympic hopefuls, and they're all
Yeah.
doing different things. You got some swimmers, you got some gymnasts, you got some
Javelin throwers.
Yes, javelin throwers. You have, everyone come together, and you have these kills that go on through the movie. The interesting thing about this film is 40 minutes in, they kill off who you think the killer is. And you really are spending the rest of the movie going, well, if it's not that dude, who is it? And I just think that some of the lines are really lovable. I think there's some great boob placement in this film. Like, it makes sense where the boobs come out. I know you looked away during those parts, Android, I know. But like,
there's a lot more than boobs in this, Heather.
there is, but I felt like the nudity made sense. Like, I felt like it happened in situations where you would be taken off your clothes.
Right, like the girl's getting the massage, so it's like, of course she's. I've never had a massage like that. Is it commonplace to be like ass out on the table?
Only if you ask. Only if you pay extra.
Yes, if you pay extra.
Or is that an athlete thing? Like, I don't know.
Usually there's just a small towel. Like, I've had a massage where it's just a towel.
Right.
And they move the towel around.
I've had many massages.
Now, legal ones.
Legal. All legal. No pay for Yankee the Winky at the end. The old happy ending. I didn't do that. My buddy did, and he came to my house and he's like, bro, he came to the house, he wanted to smoke some weed. I was like, what's up, man? His name, I'm not gonna say his name, but he's from Mexico.
We'll call him Winky. So Winky came to your house.
He's from Mexico, and he's like a long hair metalhead like me. And he's like, bro. I'm like, what? He goes, I think she likes me, dude. I was like, who? He's like, I just went and got a massage, eh? And I was like, did you? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, what happened? He goes, she jerked me off at the end. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, I think she likes me. And I was like, was she Asian? And he goes, yeah. I was like, did you tip her really good? Yeah. I was like, she don't like you, bro. And he was just like, oh, no, she got me. Like, I was like, oh.
Why would she do that?
Yeah, why would she do that then if she doesn't like me?
I feel used, and you had to like console him while he cried afterwards, Android.
She likes your money, and he goes, well, I guess I'm gonna go back then. Like, that's.
Well, at least it's an honest transaction then. Everyone knows what they think of it.
Yeah, there's some very well placed nudity in this movie, as you said, and very, very surprised to see the full frontal, because we definitely got to see some pubes in this.
We did.
And
some very natural body types. I kind of did like that a lot from the 80s, is that you kind of, not a lot of silicone. And these were athletes, right? And they were in good shape, and you would expect them to be. I just find this slasher just really fun. And when you find out, obviously, I won't spoil it, but when you found out who the person is at the end, I'm like, that's an interesting tie-in that they do. And they do the whole, like, switching of sex and stuff like that, which is always an interesting thing they like to throw into 80s movies. But I just find that it moves very quickly, and the characters are pretty affable. Like, even the guy that has that Olympic dream and he gets hurt, you feel bad for him. And then he can't find his girlfriend. Like, there is some level of character development for a pretty cheaply made slasher. Like, this movie didn't have a budget, and it was coming out at that time where it was competing with, the Friday the 13th movies, The Burning, other movies that definitely had, I would say, probably a higher or better following. And I think it's pretty entertaining. I think it's overlooked by a lot of people.
This is a slasher that I had never seen.
Really?
Ever. And I always slashers are my favorite genre of the horror genre. And this is something that really slipped through the cracks for me. So I want to thank you for that, first of all. But this movie, it does kind of harken back to Graduation Day a little bit. I don't know if you saw it. Big time.
And Final Exam. Like, there's some, but I think what I liked that was different was the athlete angle, and they talked about steroids and what it could be doing to them, and that shit goes on today too, right?
Sure.
Doesn't matter, they just got to win. And I say that working at a post-secondary institution, knowing that shit goes on still.
Win.
Win.
Um,
Win. But yeah, so that's what I thought was different. Is that it was just who was being killed was different, and some of the little side stories were different enough for me.
Right. It was. The music was hilarious. Just
Yes.
the awful second rate pop 80s music that would never make to radio.
The opening credits were awesome. What is it? Got to go for it or something like that.
You don't win if you don't. No, only winning counts, and if you don't win or something like
Yeah.
that, it's funny.
It's ridiculous. I was like, this song is awesome,
Yeah.
and not the good ways.
Yeah. Yeah, they did have some nice character character development, some love interests, little stuff to throw in there for, like you said, that's just not, they probably filmed this just directly on a college campus, I would think, or
Oh yeah,
somewhere.
totally.
Totally.
Probably the same set as Final Exam.
Probably. They probably got a discount. They were
Yeah.
like, all right, let's just sneak in here. And I think those are just slashers that you couldn't get away with making now. There's certain things that you got away with in the 80s that you just, if you tried to do it now, and I don't mean got away with in a political sense, I just mean people don't buy into it. Like, there's just certain things that you'd be like, oh, this is boring, or this is cheesy.
If this was made, today it would have the genre of horror slasher comedy. Like, this was unintentionally funny.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
this doesn't. I'm sure that these people filmed this wanting just a direct, like, we're gonna make a direct not even a highbrow, but we're gonna make a slasher movie, and this isn't gonna be unintentionally funny. Sally Kirkland, the famous Sally Kirkland, well, she's won all kinds of awards and stuff like that. She played the main villain in this movie. I don't know if you
I
guys,
didn't know that's who it was. I didn't know that. No.
I don't know if you guys know who Sally Kirkland is, but
Nope.
you don't know who she is? Oh, okay.
No.
She's an American film TV actress, very very popular. She was famously did Playboy in her 40s. Yeah, but she's not passed away. She's 79 years old, but I do like the Caitlyn Jenner aspect that she played at the end.
Yes. Which I thought was an interesting twist, but in all fairness, that happened frequently, I feel like, in 80s films. I feel like Sleepaway Camp kind of made it cool, and then everyone else was like, yeah, let's jump on this choo-choo train, which is fine. You go with what's trendy at the time. I get it. But no, I didn't. That makes sense, because she wasn't a bad actress. I would say she probably had some decent reactions to what was going on. And then the main coach that was like, no matter what, the kid's got to win. Like that opening amazing song at the beginning. And how everyone keeps dying. And they're all like, I don't know where they went. Who knows? Sue's been gone for 3 days. No one's seen Joe. And like they're just slowly like knocking off each day, and they still keep practicing. And
yeah, like where that's where I was at with it. It's like, where the fuck are the cops? Like, when somebody goes missing, like that's it. Like, where the fuck is everybody? Like, I don't know where they're at. Shit, Jesus Christ.
Just keep working out.
Xander, was this your first time seeing this? I doubt it.
It had been a very long time since I'd seen it. I do have a copy of it that I got at a convention a long time ago, but I will say, like, there's not a really great release of this movie. Like the version that I have, like, it's really fucking dark in some of the scenes. Like, you can't make out, like, what's going on, but like it's just really dark and the audio's not all that great. But it's still enjoyable. Like, I love the whole idea of the javelin being the fucking weapon. And the movie does have some really silly parts. Like, there's a part at the beginning where they're at like this dinner or whatever, and they go to wipe their face on a napkin.
Oh yeah.
And it's just one giant it's like one giant towel that the dude grabbed, and then the whole table winds up playing fucking tug of war at like
so funny.
You're like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like,
when I have you guys up here for dinner, that's what it's going to be like. We're all going to
share one time.
We're all going to play tug of war. I just wanted to give you an idea what it's going to be like.
Yeah. It's just, it just had some silly kind of lighthearted moments, stuff like that. Like, I thought it was going to be a little sillier than it was, since the first one was that dumb tug of war thing. But it did make me laugh. I thought it was enjoyable. And the kill in the water was pretty cool in the pool. That was kind of fun.
Yeah. I thought the first kill javelin scene was great. It was just like
hey, like, wait, what happened?
Yeah, like right up against the wall. Like, I feel like that they kind of maybe filmed that in reverse.
Maybe.
But I, because I'm like, okay, what are we getting into here? Obviously, I knew I was gonna love it just because of the opening and just how bad it was, and the music and just the, it was a very, like I said, graduation day-ish type of opening, even like less than graduation day, as far as budget wise. But then when I saw that first kill, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like this, like right away. So it didn't fall off the rails for me. It was pretty consistent all the way through. I thought the soundtrack, it was amazing. The spooky music was so good, and I feel like the spooky music did add the ambiance to it, and it added to the movie, because a soundtrack for me can make or break a movie as far as like the score is concerned. And I feel like had they not had a soundtrack or a score, or if it was any other weird funky score, because a lot of these old 80s horror movies that you watch, either from early 80s up to the mid 80s, especially some that Xander and I have watched, like you'll find like some sappy violin in there, some sappy piano playing, and this just took the synth horror aspect to it, and I'm like, okay, so that made it for me as well. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. The kills were solid, and I semi liked the characters, but for as low budget and corny as it was, man, I'm gonna have to give this motherfucker a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, Fatal Games.
Whoa.
See, everyone wins.
What about you, Xander?
So for me, it's a 3 out of 5 for me. I think the ending is. I just think the ending is really weak, and like honestly, like the copy I have fucking sucks. Like it if I want to see a cleaned up, better version of it, but the ending was a little disappointing after all that build up. But yeah, it's still definitely fun. I mean, like I don't disagree with necessarily what you said, but it's just gonna be a 3 for me, mainly because the ending was super disappointing. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh.
Like just falls off and that's it.
What was disappointing about the ending, particularly, Xander?
That just falls away and dies.
Okay, and it kind of ends abruptly, right? It's kind of
I'm done.
Credits. They ran out of money, Xander.
We're just gonna push the killer off, and they're dead. Oh, done. All right, cool.
And we're good.
And that's it. Roll that B-roll.
That's funny.
I like the boobs.
See, I knew who was watching this, and I'm like, I know what will make Android's day.
And so what did you give it, Heather?
Oh, for me, I gave it a 4 out of 5, same as you. I enjoy this slasher. I like a lot of 80s slashers. I'm now getting into watching stuff from the 70s and the 60s and the 50s, which has been a real struggle for me. So 80s is always my comfort zone.
Yeah.
When it comes to like quote unquote older films, I guess.
Right. Are you struggling in 60s or 50s? Or both.
I've been watching some Hammer films. But and they're interesting. We'll leave that for another time.
Yeah, for sure.
But I like this one. It's easy to watch. It's kind of like a comfort film. I hate using that term, but you know what's going to happen. It's predictable. It's a nice runtime. You're looking under an hour and 30 minutes, which I do really like for films. If you're going longer than an hour and 30, it better be something special. And I like that about this. So 4 out of 5.
There you go. Yeah, I struggle. Try watching 50s and 60s English horror films. Oh.
Like British
Yeah,
films?
yeah. Just put some.
Newsflash, they're all ghost stories.
Yeah, just put some. Might as well put some freaking hydrocodone in my hot toddy while you're at it. So, yeah, I have a huge issue with those movies. I can't watch them. It's excruciatingly boring. So yeah, there you have it, guys. Fatal Games, 1984. Check it out. We're gonna save the most batshit crazy for last, which is not gonna be my pick.
There's definitely something very weird going on here.
Detective Roger Mortis has a problem. He's dead. But Detective Bigelow is bringing him back alive.
That's okay. Don't get up. Told you not to get up.
Now, he's got 12 hours to solve the toughest murder case of his career. His own.
That's been from now on, I'm a vegetarian.
How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Treat Williams
Sit down.
and Joe Piscopo are dead heat. You can't keep a good cop dead.
All right, guys, 1984's Dead, or 88's Dead Heat. My pick, hour and 26 runtime, action horror film starring Treat Williams, who is a treat, and Joe Piscopo. Yeah, this is an action kind of action comedy horror film. I remember seeing this movie in the second run theater when I was a kid in 88, probably about 12 years old. And we used to have a movie theater, and I've mentioned it many times on this podcast that I lived literally 10 minutes away from. I could ride my bike there, which I did all the time. And all the movies that went direct to VHS and got limited theatrical releases went straight to the second run theater right away. So I always got to see these real fun, weird releases like Dead Heat, and we were talking about the Terror Within Part 2, Xander. Just weird, weird offshoot movies. So basically, this movie is a cop buddy film in LA. You can tell, late 80s, and they're a couple of partners, couple cop buddies, and the movie just starts off right away with action. I feel like this movie had a pretty decent budget to it. The budget was about $5 million, but only made about $3.5 million back at the box office. So didn't it was considered a bomb, definitely. But Treat Williams plays Officer Roger Mortis. Get it? Rigor Mortis? Rigor Mortis? Mm-hmm. And Doug Bigelow, not to be confused with Deuce Bigelow, Joe Piscopo. And so basically they're detectives. They drive up on a robbery, diamond, and a couple of colorful, which I could only describe out of pretty cool, like maybe late 80s comic book looking guys with these weird like S&M masks. They have a shootout, but these guys don't die, but they eventually die in extremely violent ways, like one blowing up, one getting rammed by a car, which was a really cool effect. And it just kind of follows the story of what the fuck's going on. There's been diamond heists going on, and they kind of go to a facility where there may or may not be some experimentation. And Joe Piscopo, who is as quote unquote as the girl tells him in the movie, he's your partner, the Neanderthal, right? Like, because Joe Piscopo is he's very late 80s, yuck, misogynistic. Wouldn't you say, Heather?
Oh yeah. He's hilarious though. he's this movie had no business being as good as it was. I was watching this and I was like, man, that guy's a dick, but he's not wrong. There were times where I was like, yeah, That was pretty frosty. This movie and the dialogue between the two was really entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, they played off each other extremely well. Like, the other actors, and of course, I don't know if you want to, show our hand of a very big actor that's in this film at the end. If you want to wait.
Wait, well, we'll wait for that, yes.
We'll
but
wait for that.
No, you know what? Fuck that. We have Darren McGavin in here as a cop, as a doctor. Darren McGavin, everybody knows, as Kolchak the Night Stalker, the dad from A Christmas Story. And his fourth to last movie ever made, theatrical appearance, Mr. Vincent Price.
Absolutely. And when he came out, I'm like, no fucking way.
Like, what?
He's not in this fucking movie. I had to actually go and look it up. Because I was like, I can't believe my eyes. No, maybe it's just someone that looks like him. And then I'm like, no, that's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really found the two main characters, Roger and Doug, just so fucking likable. Like, you really got behind them. And the whole concept
like,
of
come on, guys, you can do this.
Yeah, and like, even when they're starting to decay, the special effects, the practical effects were pretty good in the makeup. Like, I was like, when you said to me this was at the theaters, I thought this was a made-for-TV movie that just like nailed it. But that makes a lot more sense if it went to at least second-run theaters. Then I can see, where it kind of got its clout from.
Yeah, and so it basically these guys are finding that whoever did the robbery had already been had autopsies, and they're like, what the fuck? So they're going around, they're trying to investigate, and they're finding out a company is bringing some people back from the dead to rob stuff, and one of the cops ends up getting caught in a chamber, or what's his name, Treat Williams' character, and they bring him back, and basically they just have this really futuristic looking Frankenstein machine, basically, to bring him back in. And there's a really funny fight scene before he dies with Joe Piscopo and this like fat three-faced biker looking thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I loved that makeup. It looked so good.
Man, it was good. Like, it was an entertaining fight, and you can see that it's Roger stuck in the decompression chamber, and he's like, "Let me out!" Doug's still kicking this thing's ass.
And
like,
he's like, Roger's like ex-girlfriend or whatever comes, and she's like, I heard there was a shooting, and because she's a coroner. He goes, yeah. He goes, what happened? It's Roger. What? He died like a dog. No, he's like, he died in a decompression chamber meant to kill dogs, so he died like a dog. Like, just so many one-liners. I lost so much track. They take one of the they go and investigate. They bring him back, so he's alive, but he knows he's dead as well. So they're like, hey man, you got 8 hours to decompose, and then you're fucking goo. So they got to solve the crime in 8 hours. They're on a time crunch. Which they end up at one of the doctors or the ladies' houses where we're introduced to Vincent Price on video. And there's just some really funny scenes with Joe Piscopo and her, how he pulls her underwear out of a bag. He's like, I
forgot about that.
Go on a vacation, see? And he goes, oh, let's put this videotape in the video machine. Let's see what we got here.
I thought it was going to be a porn.
Me too. I thought it was going to be.
I'm like, I'm old dude. What is this shit?
But it just kind of goes on. They're just trying to solve the crimes of what's going on, who's stealing the diamonds, who's bringing people back from the dead. And it's not really, I mean, it's kind of original, but not, because, it always leads up a corporate ladder somewhere with some nefarious bad guys, some old nefarious white bad dudes, and one Asian dude, which is a really cool fucking scene. They go to the Chinese food restaurant, and the Asian dude turns on the machine. And all the ducks, a pig comes back to life, and then there's that cow bull thing that
oh yeah,
God, that was so fucking cool, man. There's some really cool effects in this movie. It plays off as pretty low budget. It plays off as it should have gone direct to VHS, which I'm sure it did. It only probably got a very limited second run theatrical film thing, but there's just some fun action in here, some fun one-liners. I don't want to give too much away about it. I saw it, again, way back in the day in the movie theater. Joe Piscopo is hilarious in this. He was definitely, I mean, if you could say this isn't his prime, it wasn't like a fucking $40 million movie, you know what I mean? But he was definitely hilarious. And this was like Joe Piscopo's like just getting into bodybuilding, you can tell. So he's like super buffed in this one.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Lean but buff.
Yeah. Really cool shout out to the scene where the girl falls apart in the shower. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. The special effects on that was awesome. And that was Lindsay Frost, who I recognized from a lot of other like TV or small roles of seeing her in. So like they had definitely some star power behind this movie. And I agree, some of the one-liners, like when he back at the I don't know, whatever the plant is or the treatment center, he said something about like, I need to take a leak and my eyeballs are gonna start floating if I don't. Like, it's just funny shit that he like comes out with, or like, yeah, about the size of my ex-wife's ass or stuff like that. And even though like, you know, I guess you could be offended by that, I thought it was fucking hilarious how it was delivered. Like, he just delivered it at points where you were like, yes, that would be appropriate for someone like that to say a line right now.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
It's funny and it's good for its time. The director Mark Goldblatt, I do want to say and give kudos to him, because this guy has only directed really only 3 films, and he's only directed 2 feature films and one a couple of TV episodes for that old TV show Erie, Indiana. But he directed The Punisher from 1989 with Dolph Lundgren.
What?
Yeah. But wow. This dude has had his hands in editing from everything from Chappie to Rise of the Planet of the Apes, 2010's Wolfman, X-Men Last Stand. I mean, on and on and on. I mean, major, huge budget movie. So this guy's tried his hand in directing. So kudos to him.
He's an industry guy, clearly. Like, to get those editing jobs, you are well respected.
Yeah. Maybe he called in some favors. Hey, Darren, Vincent Price, can you guys come in my movies, please? So it definitely had some star power. For me, man, super fun movie. I really enjoyed it. I'm not sure what kind of releases this is on. I did watch it on Tubi for free. So
it's on Shudder as well.
Yep, it's on Shudder. I ended up watching it on Tubi. I told you guys it was on Shudder, but I ended up watching it on Tubi.
I watched it on Tubi too.
Yeah, so not quite sure what kind of releases these are, or as far as like if it's on Blu-ray yet. I'm not sure if it's gotten any type of release, but it definitely does deserve a Blu-ray, which it does have. Sorry. Anyways,
I think it's a bare bones though. I don't think there's anything on it. Something special.
It deserves something funny with a real fun cover. But anyways, guys, Dead Heat, for me, another solid 4 out of 5. The only thing that lacked was probably some of the budget. I feel it could have been so much more with the higher budget, some better marketing. Star power was there, but a good solid 4 out of 5 for me. So what do you got, Xander?
Nice. Well, the only reason I knew about this movie, the only reason I knew about it was from Fred Vogel, who I think most of our listeners know who he is, but he's the guy that runs Toe Tag Pictures and did the August Underground films. Like, this is one of his like favorite movies. He absolutely loves this movie, and I had never heard of it until he spoke about it in an interview or something like years ago, and I was like, oh, cool, I need to check that out. And then I was glad when you picked it so I could finally sit down and watch it. And honestly, the butcher shop scene with all the reanimation of all the butchered animals, that scene alone is worth buying the movie, watching the movie. Like, that scene alone is just incredible and just a fucking blast, man. And the movie is fun the whole way through. It doesn't drag. It's just a damn good time. And I would love to have seen more movies with Joe Piscopo and him playing the same cops and doing it all over again. Where's my sequel? I want my sequel.
Preach that, Xander.
Yeah, but 4 out of 5, hands down. It's a good time, and it's it's another one that doesn't run very long, so you're good to go.
Yeah, there you have it. All right, what do you got, Heather?
So this movie for me was a 1 out of, just kidding, a 5 out of 5, a 5 out of 5.
Wow.
I liked it so much that midway through I started messaging random people I know from the podcasting community being like, have you seen this movie screenshot? Have you seen this movie screenshot? Because I just thought it was awesome for what it was. It was entertaining. I cared. I laughed. I appreciated the special effects. It had an ending that I could buy, for what it was. Yet again, right? For what it was. And I walked into this going, oh my God, Android picked this. Oh my God. And Andrew and I do another show together, which is why I was wondering what I was walking into. But this was awesome. I recommend it to people. If you haven't watched this and you like, action movies or you like Lethal Weapon, like those kind of films, you will dig this movie. It is just a fun, good time.
Yeah, so lighthearted. So as violent as it is and the special effects, it's very innocent as well,
And like when he wakes up from being dead and they're all like, oh, here you are. I guess you're here now. You have no heartbeat. That's weird. On another day. And the movie nails it. You're like, I believe this for this movie. This makes sense of how you would react. So I totally recommend to all the listeners, watch this movie. There's no reason you shouldn't. It's available on Tubi in Canada and the United States. So,
boom.
There you go. And kudos to killing a bad guy twice at the end.
Yes.
Or 3 times, however you want to look at it. But yeah, great movie, guys. I'm very interested to see what your buddies thought of this, though, Heather. Has anybody seen it yet?
One's like a mature person, so they had watched it. Like, yeah, I saw this years ago, Heather. I'm like, wow, have you seen it recently?
Did you forget about it?
Mr. Fancy Pants?
Right. And the other person's going to be Scott, right, who will watch it and will dig it.
Amazing. 10 out of 10. I'm just kidding.
Scott will be like, oh my God, Heather, we should do this movie all the time. But yeah, most people who I messaged about it had seen it and said that they liked it. And I think that speaks to the rating on IMDb, which was like 6 out of 10 or something like that, which is pretty good for a movie like this. Yeah. So, yeah.
Not bad. And kudos to you for showing me Deadly Games, because I will be fucking completely aping that for a future. Fatal Games, sorry.
It's the same thing. We're just deadly fatal.
It's also known as Olympic Nightmare in some markets.
Oh,
I will be stop showing up. I'll be aping that for a future episode of Android Vision, just letting you know.
Please do.
That's how much I liked it. All right, on next to
the piece la résistance.
Oh, what was this movie called?
Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh.
Bloodsucking Pharaohs
in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh. All right.
Pittsburgh.
Let's go ahead and listen to this trailer for either this piece of gold or this hunk of shit. I haven't decided yet. All right. We're going to listen to the trailer and we'll be right back.
Hey, did you hear that?
A serial killer.
Mister, you got a quarter?
Is on the loose.
Hey, if you don't have a quarter, that's okay too, man.
And these 2 cops are on the case.
Detectives? Who happen to be the lousiest cops on the force?
Look behind you towards that corner. Don't be obvious.
But when the bad guys turn out to be bad girls, and the killer starts working overtime, can these cops save Pittsburgh before it's too late?
Shut up! It's only Sweeney's wife.
You'll get a blast out of this hilarious horror spoof.
This one's a blockbuster. 2 thumbs up.
Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh. Now on video cassette from Paramount.
There you have it. The trailer for Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh. Xander's 1991 horror exploitation pick. You explain this, man.
All right. Yeah. Like you said, from 1991, we have an Alan Smithy situation here as far as directors. But ultimately was Dean Shedder was the guy involved directing this movie. And also it should be noted that Tom Savini did the effects for this movie.
Yeah, that was the big get.
Pittsburgh local. So I guess it was,
another favor for a favor for a favor.
Yes, somebody called in favors. So, man, where to start? All right. So this is another, I would say this isn't a buddy cop movie like Dead Heat is. Like, it is 2 detectives that are very much like different. They don't necessarily seem like to be friends, and they're much more aloof than Dead Heat. But they're on the hunt for some serial killer is taking body parts from hookers, and like they'll take out their brains, their hearts, and all this and that, and we eventually find out it's for a blood ritual for the Fountain of Youth. And the whole film, it's incredibly stupid, for one. Let's just get that out of the way. This movie's dumb. It's dumb as shit. But you like within the first few minutes, you kind of know exactly what you're in for. So you do get a weird interaction with like a stripper. It's like a really weird audio. They're like bumbling in the dark in the car, and you just hear them talking about, "Oh, your kisses are hot, but your heart is so cold." And then like
that's that opening scene, Xander. I was dying during that scene. It was hilarious.
There's like 20 quotable lines that happen in that whole conversation. Like, what the fuck is going on? But eventually somebody gets killed with a miter saw. But so you get a pretty good kill at the beginning and just weird stuff going on. And then the next part is kind of when they let you know what kind of movie you're about to see. So they do like a lineup of like the guy that's alive that they're questioning about what had happened. They're like, can you identify the hat? Because they're fixed on this like hat. And so they get this stupid like book out and they start showing them pictures of like fedoras and cowboy hats. And then it gets to the, what do they call it? The Egyptian fez hat. And the dude just like freaks out and starts screaming and like crying. He's like, that's the hat. That's the hat. You're like, okay, this movie's going to be dumb as shit. And this is the point where I tell you to turn it off if you don't have any interest in this movie at that point, because it doesn't get any less stupid than that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I knew what I was getting into when the cops were fishing the prostitute's for her brain, like that the brain was cut out of her head outside the car, and the other cop was puking. And Heather knows how I feel about puke.
You know, here's the thing. Android is like, this movie, I'm in. I'm so in now.
Tomato salmon casserole.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
that scene. Oh. Geez.
Yeah, they just keep going, and it's just them trying to find the serial killer. There's like a subplot with the detectives. One of them, his wife left him because he has a sex problem, and they bring that up like the entire movie. Oh, I heard about his sex problem. He's like, it's not a sex problem.
If I hear about my sex problem one more
with
time,
the thing in her throat, who's constantly razzing her husband. You think she's pretty? I know you think she's pretty.
Yeah, and so the other cop has this wife that is a habitual smoker, and there's a whole subplot about her going to some weird place to try to stop smoking, and they do batshit crazy stuff to her.
Oh my god, that was my favorite.
To make her stop smoking, like she's in there watching a video of these people smoking at a party, and then the building collapsed, and then 4 dudes jump out of the wall with 8 masks on, or gorilla masks on, and spray her with a fire hose. Watch you smoking. You're like, what the fuck? It feels very Mel Brooks at times in the movie, even through its humor. Like all these random things that make no sense that pop up. But yeah, ultimately they go through and figure out it's like this weird Egyptian thing, which is kind of, is it Blood Feast from Herschel Gordon Lewis where they do the Egyptian, like robbing the organs? It's like loosely the same plot, except in Blood Feast they have a dinner, and in this one they're trying to create, I don't know what the fuck it was. What they call it? A forever young something, I guess.
Well, also you got to think that there was another cop buddy that they had that was tagging along. His daughter was tagging along somewhere in there, and she was hanging out with him the whole time.
Yeah, that was so the murders that are happening in Pittsburgh also happened in Vegas, and this lady her dad was the lead cop on the murders that they think it's the same murderer. So she flies over, and turns out she's not a cop; she's a fucking meter maid, and they get pissed and want to send her back.
And she has the hiccups the whole time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which made no sense, but whatever. That gave her character some depth, I guess, which is kind of funny. So yeah, this movie does not take itself seriously, which is good.
No. And it just the ball just they keep piling crazy on crazy, right? Like it just gets wilder and wilder as it fucking goes on. Then there's a bunch of lady ninjas that show up later when they kind of toward the end of the film that show up, and you have like this battle at this like sacrificial area. And the funniest part to me, we'll spoil this because it's really funny. So the cop's wife, that is the smoker, has like the frazzled hair, and at this point she's been like super abused by this
electrocuted
and all this stuff, so her face is all wrapped, and she walks in on this like ceremony, and like all these people that are taking part in the ceremony, they think it's Anubis, so they think she's like this higher level god or Egyptian god that's come down, and they think she's Anubis, and it's just damn it.
A manifested Anubis. And she's talking like a mummy. She's like, oh. Yeah. So they really think that she's a fucking mummy. Like,
whew. It's so stupid. And then they go just before that. A little earlier on in the movie, there's a restaurant that a lady works at.
Oh my god,
it's like
this is the best scene.
It's a weird like Egyptian restaurant with like the ladies dressed up in Egyptian garb and roller skates. And she has moved there from Las Vegas to pursue her career as a waitress.
In Pittsburgh.
Yeah, in Pittsburgh. It's just so, like I said, the movie just piles on stupid on top of stupid on top of stupid. But I will say, it's a fun ride.
Intentionally random.
In that restaurant scene, though, there's a part where I don't know who the main... Is that Dee Dee? Who's sitting across from them?
Yeah.
And she says, I think those guys are looking at me. Be subtle when you turn around. And the two detectives, like, when people do that in real life, though, right? You'll be like, oh my god, like, look over there. And that person's like, where? What? Like, totally. I'm like, that is a real thing that happens all the time. And my second favorite scene was when the chick goes to use a payphone and
it doesn't have a quarter.
Pharaoh for a quarter, and he's tying her up. She's like, "It's okay if you don't have a quarter. I totally get it." Like, I was dying, Xander, laughing at that. It was just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I felt like they knew it was ridiculous.
Absolutely.
So we were all laughing together.
Right. There's also, and that hooker was also at that weird hotel where like there's a bunch of weird sex going on, and you can like hear the audio, like you can hear the audio like of what's going on in the rooms. Then they open up one room and it's just some fat dude being buttered up by some ladies. You're like, what the fuck is the point of this?
Yeah,
shit's wild, y'all.
Yeah, it is wild.
Yeah, and I fucking texted Android. I was like, ooh, what's up, tomato salmon casserole? Which is like the fucking coroner at the police precinct is like chopping people up and he's looking at dead bodies because all the organs are missing, right? Like, so he's just going through trying to tell the detectives what's going on. And they're like, oh, Beth made a tomato salmon casserole. Do you want some? And they start scooping this nasty ass. It looks like, it's so disgusting.
This movie is it's so random. Like, there's so much going on in this movie. So many colorful characters, scenes. Just the only thing it suffers for, I think, is budgetary stuff, and obviously, like maybe it's kind of grainy. The copy I watched.
Yeah.
It's so funny and fucking out there. And let me say this. I told Xander after watching this, I said, look, I'm gonna have to stew on this for a little while. I'm either this is something I really haven't decided if I really like or I really hate. Like, and there's not a lot of movies that invoke that emotion out of me. I was at a loss after it was over, which is kind of hard for me, for a movie to do to me. I do also want to say that both the movies that Xander and I picked tonight, not trying to isolate Heather, both, again, par for the course, cop buddy movies, comedy, weird shit, like, horror. Like, it wasn't
weird shit.
It wasn't planned. Trust me, it was not planned.
Yeah. This movie was supposed to be paired up with Hide and Go Shriek, but we didn't get to record that episode.
Yeah, and we didn't even finish it. It was just a weird shit copy.
And I basically was like, well, I'm going to make Heather watch Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
How did you even find this movie, Xander? I don't even get how you found this movie.
Oh, shit. I don't remember. I truly
wonder
don't
why.
remember. Truly don't remember. But it popped back up to my attention. I was like, oh, yeah, we need to cover that on the show because I watched there's a weird, like, comedy called Vampire in Burbank that's like this weird late 80s, early 90s, like, shot on video vampire flick, and it just has a bunch of silly humor, kind of like this movie. So, and I really enjoyed Vampire in Burbank, so I was like, I'll definitely give this a shot and watch it. But yeah, I don't remember how I initially found it, but god damn it, I'm glad I did.
So am I. It was an experience.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, like this, for me, this like checks, I don't know. To me, at the end of the day, when I watch a movie like this, like the ultimate question is, did I have fun? Did I have fun watching this? Fuck yeah, I had fun watching Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh. Like I said, if once you get to that silliness of that first scene, if that's not your bag, you're gonna hate this movie. Like, you will absolutely hate this movie. But for me, it hits all the stupid, like, those stupid little jokes. It has all these dumb little backstories, like with the wife. Like, I love that. I think that's such a dumb subplot, but every time the wife comes on screen, I'm waiting for the silliness or the stupid thing to happen that's going to make me laugh, and she delivers every fucking time she's in the scene. And it's just enjoyable for me. And I think when you do get the kills are solid. So one thing we didn't touch about is, like, the kills are always like different, like, power tools, essentially. Like, you have a miter saw, you have a leaf blower, then there's an actual, like, chainsaw. Like, it's all these different, like, power tools are doing all the kills because he's using different tools to cultivate different organs out of the body. And you could tell Savini had his hand on these effects. There's some pretty good effects. There's not any, like, crazy, like, transformations or anything like that, really, but there is some good gore in the scenes. And at the very end, I thought like at the sacrificial tomb, I thought that set actually looked kind of cool. Yeah. And they had all the blood and the little baths or whatever the fuck they were. For me, this movie is fantastic. This is a fucking 5 out of 5 for me. It checks all my boxes.
Look at
It
you.
is a dumb movie. I could totally understand why someone would give this movie a 0.5 out of 5. But for me, if I want to watch a movie that's, like, fun, silly, and it actually, to me, the movie moves pretty quick because you're either laughing or something else is going on screen that you need to, somebody's dying, something like that. So it moves fast for me. I absolutely love it. So what do you guys think?
Like I said at the beginning, I had to stew on this for a while, and either it was going to be a fucking 0.5 out of 5 or a fucking a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5, and I'm just going to go straight for it, man. I'm going to all my movies got the same rating tonight, 4 out of 5. I after stewing on this and thinking about it for a while, I loved it for what it was. It was hilarious. It was completely intentional on what it was trying to deliver. The gore was great. The one-liners are great. There's so much going on in this film with all these characters and weird little subplots and alluding to sex problems and the chick with the hiccups and the fucking wife trying to quit smoking, and it's just so fucking out there. I looking back on it, I truly enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. It's out there, kind of like Blood Diner out there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's out there like. This is something that, you could have seen Trauma had its hands in out there, right?
Right.
It's in that context. So
yeah, it felt to me like if it was if Mel Brooks and Sam Raimi made a movie together, it was kind of what it felt like to me.
and maybe had Uncle what's his name? Why am I forgetting his name? Jesus Christ, the guy who runs Trauma. Lloyd Kaufman, yeah, Uncle Lloyd in there, like maybe a little touch of Uncle Lloyd in there as well. So, man, for me, 4 out of 5. I thought it was as batshit crazy as the fucking title. So there you have it. So go ahead, Heather.
I wasn't sure when I first started watching this. That opening 5 minutes with going through the cars and hearing all the different dialogues, I was like, once we got through about 3 or 4 dialogues, I'm like, yes, movie, I will continue with you, and not just because this is for a podcast. And there's no Wikipedia for me to read the notes. So I'm going to...
Ooh.
I'm just kidding, Xander. I'm just kidding. I loved the smoking wife. I thought she was just...
She takes the scene every time she's on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and her, like, you think she's pretty. I know you think she's pretty. Like,
Yeah.
it was just so unnecessary. And the husband's like, I don't even want to have this conversation. We have bigger...
He's like, she doesn't even have a brain in her skull. Why the hell do you think she's pretty?
Yeah, it's the lines are so good. And Dee Dee really, you know, I found her quite endearing. Found her quite likable. I found her, like, I cared about what happened to her. I wanted her to be successful and to make it through. And it was just, I agree. I think if you walk into this movie and accept it for what it is, which is going to just be an entertaining, fun ride, it delivers. It delivers on all of those areas. So it's a solid 4 out of 5 for me as well.
Yeah.
I would say, you know, everything. I just echo everything that you gentlemen said in terms of taste. But just know that, you know, you're going to walk out of this movie being like, what the fuck did I just watch? But there was true effort put into this film.
Yeah, and it seems like everybody had fun making it, right? Like, it feel like you watch it, like, you feel like the people on set are probably cracking up laughing with all the dumb shit that's going on in front of their faces.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think we probably all could agree this is either, it's going to be one of those movies that you're going to love or you're going to hate. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of people that fall in between that it's like just okay. Like, I think you're just going to be into it or you're not.
Yeah. It's definitely a polarizing feel. I mean, you're going to either say I watched 15 minutes of it and I'm done.
Yeah.
And if you're going to commit to it, then that's your fault for, you know, torturing yourself. But
and I need a copy of this movie too. I need a physical copy of this. Yes, I need it. I think it's only on, as far as I know, it's only on VHS. So
that's a good physical copy to have, though.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you can track VHS down and get that motherfucker. So yeah, great picks tonight, gang. I thought it was for very solid movies across the board for us. So
yeah,
you guys
for sure.
Go check out Dead Heat. Go check out Fatal Games. Go check out Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Philadelphia. Is that it?
Pittsburgh.
I don't know. Pittsburgh. Solid films.
Yeah.
Heather, go ahead.
There's also one more scene in Bloodsucking Pharaohs that I want to mention that had me fucking dying laughing. And there's a point where Dee Dee decides she wants to become a waitress to get the in at the restaurant. So she's like obsessed with Grace, the waitress. So she goes to meet her and to talk to her about a job at the place. And at the entrance to Grace's door, there's a handwritten sign on like a notepad that says, "Home of Grace, future waitress." That's all it says. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it's like a closet, right? Like she's basically living in a closet. It's so
Xander's like,
stupid.
I love this movie so much, everybody.
It's so stupid.
It's so dumb. Heather, what do you got to pimp?
Oh, a couple things. I do the Friday Nightmares podcast, which is on the Legion Podcast Network under the Kill the Cats feed. I do that with Mr. Scott Crawford. I also do the Controllers Up, Cards Down, All-Star Gaming podcast, which you're welcome to come on. Either one of those, Android, if you ever want to, because I know Xander wants to come on the gaming one, and I think he's coming on for April, our next episode. Yeah. So, Android, anytime you want to come on, please do.
I used to be on a gaming podcast.
I'm not. Of course you did.
We made 2 episodes.
I can see that it was a very committed.
It wasn't me that wasn't committed.
Oh. Well, now you can relive and talk about all the games.
It's all good.
You can share all the games you've been playing since that last podcast. So it will be a nice long episode. And then finally, I work with this handsome man, Android Vision, or Androidvirus, for, they called you out your other show, sorry, Android. Androidvirus on It's Not Horror, Okay? Where we just watch ridiculously offensive movies and we all act like assholes during it. So if you listen to Android on here and you want to see a different side of him, check out It's Not Horror, Okay? And you can find that on the Dark Discussions Network.
A different side of me for sure.
It's a very different side. Let me just clear. Same with me. I'm also very hard on that show.
There's something about that 5-person combination that brings out the I don't want to say the worst in us, but because it's just there's just something about it. That's all I'm gonna say.
I can safely say that
that's called chemistry.
It is called chemistry, and Android has become one of my favorite people. The first episode we did, if you want to go back and listen to it, he said some really funny stuff, and he's just one of the nicest guys that you will ever meet, and has a great sense of humor, but never crosses the line and hurts people's feelings.
Oh,
he's funny without being offensive to an individual. I'm not going to make any promises about groups, but he doesn't offend any of his podcasters, and he really is a blast to work with. I've had so much fun working with him. So
you're so nice. Aw.
True.
What did Nudie say on the beginning of that podcast, last podcast? Because I edited. You turned my black heart into red. Oh.
I know. Neil's a hard one to break. So if I'm able to break him once in a while, then it's an accomplishment.
I'm not easy. I'm a slut. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you are.
You guys can always check us out every few weeks or every couple weeks, whenever me and Xander decide to get our asses off. Heather, we really appreciate you being with us tonight.
Absolutely.
As always. It's always a goddamn pleasure with you. Always.
Yeah, we always have a lot of fun, don't we? The three of us. It's a nice threesome we got
going.
Well,
yeah. I hope you can convince some other people to watch Bloodsucking Freaks. Or Pharaohs in Pittsburgh.
Okay, I might be able to get Scott to watch it.
He will.
Scott will watch it.
Scott is another.
I sat through Munchies. He can sit through that.
Yes. That son of a bitch.
That's how we even the score. I'm just going to send him the link now to the movie. Like, here, watch this.
I actually already did.
What? Nice.
Yeah, I got your back.
Nice.
I got your back.
Yeah, he needs to watch that.
Well, he needs to watch it and talk about it on next time you guys meet up.
Okay, I'm gonna tell him.
I put the gauntlet out to a couple of other podcasting buddies who haven't taken up the mantle, Xander, for Moonstalker and Las Vegas and Las Vegas serial killer, and nobody's wanted to pick that up. And I dare you and Scott, Heather, to pick up the mantle for those.
Oh, I'll do it now, right? Like.
Like, we could have done a second chances with Las Vegas serial killer with Heather and made her watch that one too.
Maybe next time.
Look, I watched a movie for Xander that I didn't even understand because I couldn't get subtitles. So
and now it's out on Blu-ray from Severin.
There you go.
And you still liked it. How about that?
I still did, and I still defended it.
Jesus. All right, gang. We'll see you on the flip. Thanks for listening, and good night.
Yes.
Bye.
Good day. I said good day.
All right. Good night. Okay.
You've been listening to the Cemetery Gates podcast, featuring Androidvirus and Xander Kane. Follow us on Twitter @Androidvirus, @Xander_Kane, and @CemeteryGates66.